just be aware of this service campaign 9C2. So when you bring your car dealership, they may ask you, okay, we are going to, or they may even not tell you at all, just update your software. And this started somewhere in 2025, and we have people who had this new ECM modification, the software. And look at all these beautiful people saying, same for me, same for me, same for me. They started, after this software update, they started having drivability issues in the first minutes of cold engine. So you fire up the engine, it doesn't idle normal, and then you start driving, it doesn't drive normal. It's jerky, who knows? A few things like this. So this is only really cold start, few minutes. In other words, this software update, the ECM, that's basically engine management, right? The timing advance or something like this, could be several parameters, right? This is affecting only the few minutes. And we also have this, was a recall, and I think most of the owners did receive a letter. And I've seen the cars in there, and I think it's 2.4 GDI, but does it also cover the 2.0? I'm not sure. I'll put it in the title. Anyway, that's not the point. Well, that's half the point of this video. But there's an interesting, if we just take a moment to think about it, and this is going to be my personal interpretation, what's going on. So this campaign here, it's actually rolling back a previous engine software management update. So this happened in 2025, somewhere in 2025, but I think that about 10 to 12 years before this update, there was another ECM software update. So these cars were produced from around 2011, right? A few years after the production started, there was a software update. Why? Because after the production started, Hyundai, well, engines started having that problem, carbon deposits. So they brought the cars back to garage, it started cleaning. It was a very labor-intensive job. It's not just to spray something in the intake, it's gone. No, it was really hardened carbon deposits, had to remove the intake, spread with nuts or shells or something. Anyway, labor intense. So Hyundai decided, hey, I need to do something to stop these carbon deposits on intake valve on GDI engines, third generation. So I think what they've done, they modified the combustion parameters, could be several parameters. They did update the car softwares, maybe without telling you. When you would bring the car for an oil change, something like this, they let them go. And from that moment on, the carbon deposits on forum, the talks, vanished. So that problem was completely solved. However, that software update, the engine management, the combustion management, was different than what was designed at the factory. When the engine was built, was designed, they ran tests for hundreds of hours to just set the correct combustion parameters. And when they change these parameters, well, guess what? New things can happen. Yes, they got rid of carbon deposits, but now the government finds out many years later, quote unquote, that there is a combustion emissions problem, which more likely, to my belief, was caused by that update 10, 12 years ago. And this combustion problem, Hyundai is trying to solve it by, I don't know, maybe rolling back or doing just another change. Still not getting to the original parameters from those original engine design tests. That's why the people get problems. However, I think there is something else hiding here as well. So the update that happened 12 years ago to get rid of carbon deposits did cause these high emissions. That's just my belief. But I don't think that was the only downside from that update that got rid of carbon deposits. I think that software update also caused poor combustion, especially in the first minutes of driving, where we get those carbon deposits. They happen in the first minutes of driving. So that poor combustion that would get rid of carbon deposits will also leave unburned, unburned things inside the combustion chamber. And those unburned products will, after many years, or after many miles, will start jamming, stocking, gumming up piston rings, including the oil control rings. And then the cars would get oil consumption problem. Interesting. Because most of these oil consumption problems that perhaps you have heard already, they can be completely solved doing a piston soak. People use Berryman or something like this. There are endless reports saying it completely solved. So the problem with oil consumption is due to stock oil control rings. And the only way they get stuck is there is poor burning mixture, especially at the start of the engine with cold engine, which may have been created by that old software update. And if you want me to throw something else in there, I think that's not the only issue. I think that poor combustion at cold start to get rid of carbon deposits may have also resulted in unburned gasoline inside the combustion chamber, which will leak down all the piston and oil control rings and mix with oil and dilute the oil, and maybe that's what explains engine failures from around 80, 90, 100,000 miles on, especially on the car that do small drives, not long rides. So, well done, Hyundai. They try to fix a problem, they create another one. Now they must be completely confused what to do at this point. We may start having carbon deposit from now on. Who knows what's up, but yes, their engine management doesn't really work for this company. Hopefully they are going to improve. I've heard the new models from 2021 on are actually fairly good, fairly reliable. There have been some issues with the high pressure fuel injectors, but it's being probably fixed. Probably the new models are better, and the new 2021 and up engines, GDI also, they now have a port injection that will solve hopefully at least a part of the carbon deposits without messing with the ECM management of the engine combustion. So hopefully things have improved from 2021. Again, the car seems to have are doing well, at least the gasoline models. Hybrid models, I'm not so sure. Hybrid models, Hyundai didn't really get it. It's very far away from Toyota. Anyway, just reach us on forums, and any questions, don't hesitate.